Welcome back to the Hillbilly RV channel. Today is part 2 of 4,000 watt Onan generator not making power. Got the new brushes. They came in a very special green box. There's our part number, and here's what they look like. I guess it's a brush block assembly. There we go. There it is. And that wire holding those brushes in, leave that wire. Don't pull that wire out. You will take that wire out after the brushes are installed. I believe that wire probably should be straight. So we might actually pull it out of there and straighten it up, but yeah, there we go. Yeah, as a matter of fact, I think we will pull that wire out of there and straighten it up and put it back in. Actually, it's a very, very soft wire. Oop. So we'll just straighten it up. I'm sure it got bent. I'm sure it got bent during shipping from probably China or wherever Onan parts come from. I don't know. Anyhow, we got to get those slip rings cleaned up. I'll try and get you in there and get you a shot of them slip rings, but I don't know. I'll try. Here are the slip rings. Here's one. And then you got this white spacer between them, and here's the other one. That black, whatever that black streak is right there, that shouldn't be there. I'd say that's the remnants of our wore out brush. Yeah, if you'll remember from our other video, there's our brushes. This one's still in good shape. That one's wore smack out, ½ inch shorter than this one. So yeah, all that black stuff on that slip ring is probably the remnants of that brush. So yeah, got to get that cleaned up. I think I know how I'm going to do it, but we're going to see if that works. If you'll remember from the other video, I said I like to use pencil erasers, or ink eraser and a pencil eraser to clean those slip rings, but you really need to spin the generator. Can't spin the generator if you got the flywheel off. Can't spin it with the starter. So what I done is I took the spark plug out and put that long bolt back in this shaft, and I'm going to use my drill, I believe, to spin that so I can clean those slip rings. We'll see if that's going to work. Yes, that will work. So now we just take our erasers. We'll take the ink one first and just hold it in there on that slip ring and spin the generator. Gotta be careful not to get your fingers stuck in there, because there is some parts spinning back in there. Well, that battery just died. Well, I don't know what that black stuff is on that slip ring, but I'm not so sure it's coming off. Might have to use some emery cloth on that. That's bringing it off. It's just, it's pretty close quarters in there. Be awful easy to get your finger somewhere where it don't belong in there. Yeah, you don't want to use something too awful abrasive in there. That's bringing it off there. You know what? I think I will get smart and put a pair of vice grips on this. Cause you got all that stuff rotating down in there, and it would definitely hurt if it grabbed a hold of your fingers. All right, all the black streaks gone, whatever that was. All right, now we just use a pencil eraser to kind of dress it up a little bit. That one slip ring that actually wore that brush out, it still feels funny. You can feel some drag or something on it. So I might actually Might actually hit that with some really fine emery cloth. If I can find some really fine emery cloth, or well, I got some like 1200 grit sandpaper in here. That ought to work. I got some 1000 grit. Let's try that. I just put sandpaper on my eraser. Stick it down in there. Not gonna go crazy there. Yeah, I think that's gonna do it. It definitely looks better than it did. Okay, let's carry on then. That slip ring is probably brass, I'm assuming. So see, we were removing material. So we didn't want to remove too much material, but we did need to smooth that up. So mission accomplished. We're just gonna go ahead and transfer our wires over. I don't think it makes any difference which wire goes where, but just in case, we're gonna put them back where they belong. Same orientation anyway. Back in the day, these brush blocks used to be made out of ceramic material. They're pretty fragile. You have to be very careful handling them. But now, like everything else, it's plastic. So there is a wire, or there's a hole right here in this case that this wire is going to come out of. So let's see if we can get that brush block down in there. Get that wire started through that hole. Yeah, there we go. There's our wire sticking out of the hole. Here's our screws. Hold the brush block on. Of course, they're Torx, like everything else on an Onan generator. I think you just want to kind of hold this down a little bit once you get these bolts ready to snug up, just so everything stays nice and square. Just going to get both these run down pretty close to where they're going. And then let's hold that brush block down so that it should be nice and square. Snug those bolts up. Gently, because this is plastic. All right. Brush blocks in. Pour a wire out. Our brushes make contact with slip rings. That's all done. So I guess next thing we'll do is put the flywheel back on. Now we haven't messed with our coil or anything, so we don't have to worry about adjusting that. We just have to put the flywheel back on. We got to put our key in there first. Make sure that groove is lined up in that flywheel and that shaft. Get our key in there. Gotta go find the torque spec for this and get this torqued, and then we'll be right back. And I'm serious, I actually am gonna torque this because if y'all watched that other video, and there'll be a link right here to that video for the part 1. And this flywheel come off really hard, so I don't know how tight that bolt was, but we're gonna put it back like it ought to be. I'll be real honest with you, me and most other people, mechanics on YouTube, when we say we're gonna get torque specs, torque it and we'll be right back, we're lying. But actually this time, I'm actually gonna find the Torx backs and torque this. So I will be right back. So the flywheel's back on and it's torqued to spec, truly torqued to spec, which was pretty scary. That bolt's pretty tight. It's just a 3/8 bolt. It's that long. So, I don't know. I guess the next thing we need to do is get our plastic back on here, which we've got to raise that generator up in that pan to do that. And then we'll get our mount bolts put back in. Just like so. I believe, if I remember right, there's like 5 or 6 bolts in this. And surprisingly enough, these are not Torx. They're metric. I love how they mix metric and standard bolts on this thing. Went and seen Cameron yesterday, and he's doing better. Like I say, if he wants y'all to know what's going on, he'll comment in the video. But just think about my little buddy Cameron. Just pray that he'll heal up soon. Because I miss him, I know that. Well, I have tore up my 1/4" ratchet somewhere along the line. It don't hardly ratchet anymore. I don't even know when I did that. Time to go to Lowe's, get me a new Craftsman or a rebuilt Craftsman ratchet. There's 2 bolts. It's just 4 bolts, 4 little bolts. Hold that plastic on. Now that I got them all 4 in there, we'll go snug them all up. If you ever find yourself changing this fuel pump with the generator still in the motorhome and all that, and the cover all on it, this fuel pump has a tab over on this side that has a hole in it, has a tab on this side that has a hole in it. There's no bolt over here. The fuel pump goes in there, and this tab over here slides under a little female tab over there, and then it's just got a single bolt in it right here. Of course, it's Torx, so why wouldn't it be, right? Most of these Onan generators, you can't change oil on them without some Torx sockets, because there's a cover over a lot of times there's a cover over the drain plug on some of these. I don't know about this one, I haven't actually seen the bottom of it. Okay, so we got that. We have some ground wires here that we need to get back under a ground lug. You'll remember from that other video, I taped these together so none of them would get lost. So we got 3 wires that we need to get under this ground bolt back here. And I do believe that he'll end up taking this back loose when he's putting the generator back in. I think some, maybe your ground or your something for the generator, or the like your main ground might go here, might not, might go right here. I'm not real sure, but we're gonna put it in there and snug her up real good. Either way, and that way it's tight if he doesn't have to disturb it later. And if he does have to disturb it, he'll just have to loosen it up. But we're gonna make sure it's tight, just in case. Use our non-ratcheting ratchet. Whew. Ain't nothing more aggravating than a ratchet that won't ratchet. So yeah, this ratchet's definitely going back to Sears Sears, back to Lowe's very soon. And that will get me a new one. I didn't show you this when we took it apart, but you got this piece of styrofoam that goes in here like so. That's all part of your airflow in an air-cooled generator. Just like that. All right, I got to get the spark plug back in it. I got to get those bolts back up through the motor mounts, through the bottom of the generator. Get another bracket bolted on, and none of that stuff you will be able to see because it's all underneath. And I'll be right back. All right, plastics on, air cleaners back together. The mount bolts are put in, the limiting bolts are put in, the mounting brackets put back on. Basically, we'd be ready to test fire this thing and see if it makes power, but the customer worked on it first. Now, when he took his generator out of the motorhome, for some reason, he took this connector apart right here. That's what, about like a 24 pin connector? He's like, I wonder if there's something wrong in there. So he took it apart. When he dropped the generator off, he's like, oh, yeah, by the way, a couple of wires need resoldered back in that connector. I'm like, what? What do you mean the wires need resoldered back in the connector? Well, a couple of them pulled loose. I'm like, what? So when I called him the other day, I was like, now what's the deal with that connector? Well, he took it apart. You can see he's scratched it all up and scarred it all up. And apparently, when he took it apart, he pulled a couple of these wires out of the pins. He's like, oh, it'll just take a few minutes to resolder them. I'm like, well, why didn't you do it? Oh, well, yeah, it's going to take more than a few minutes. But anyhow, so I got to figure out how this connector comes apart. I can't hurt it none because he's done goobered it all up, and see what the heck's going on in this connector. Yeah, I don't know what on earth possessed him to go into this connector, but he did. So let's see if we can get in here and see what in the world he has done. Oh yeah, I think the tabs broke off of that. Oh my goodness. Oh, those are blanks. I was gonna say, holy crap, there's all kinds of wires tore loose back here. Those are blanks. All right, now I gotta figure out how the rest of this connector comes apart. It's got to come out the front, don't it? Well, you'd have to de-pin that thing, wouldn't you? Yeah, you'd have to de-pin that, because the rest of that connector does not come apart. So what in the world is he talking about? Yeah, because you'd have to de-pin the individual wires. You don't suppose he was looking at those blanks too, do you? See, they put those blanks in there where there is no wire, I guess just to seal the connector. I wonder if that's what he saw those blanks. So, I don't know. I'm gonna just tug on those wires individually a little bit and make sure they're still in the connectors. I don't know what in the world. I don't know why in the world he was even in here. But anyhow, let me Let me tug on them, see if they seem like they're tight or not, and we'll go from there. I mean, I've got no problem with people fixing stuff, but if you're just tearing stuff up, you're not fixing anything, right? So he said it was wires right on the end. Okay, well that pin's loose. When I pull on this wire, the pin's coming out of the connector. Let me see if there's one more, because he said there was two. Said there was two problem children here. Yeah, they're not pulled out of the connectors. He's broke the retainer on the connectors here, probably. On those pins, I mean. So, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, they don't need resoldered. All right, had to go get my reading glasses on. I think what I'm gonna have to do is pull this one out, bend the little tabs back out that retain it. Well, I don't see what was supposed to retain it. I think it should have just snapped in there, but maybe it's just not been inserted far enough. I don't know. I think it'll stay. I think so. I think maybe they just hadn't been put all the way up in there or something. They're not retained very well, actually, at all. Put a little seal back down in there. Put this back down in there. They're right there where they need to be. Yeah, I think we'll be fine. We've got our battery hooked up to it. We got some gasoline. And I've got my load bank hooked up to it. Now let's start it and see if it makes power. This is gonna get noisy, so I'll probably just put some music in here and I'll show you some stuff here, but I'll save you from having to listen to the generator noise. All right, the generator is running right now, and here is my fluke meter. It's set to hertz, 62 hertz, no load, and it was making 120 some volts. So now I am going to turn the load bank on. That is 4,000 watts of power, and it is perfectly in spec, 60 hertz. That's what we have here in America, 60 hertz. So this generator is in fantastic shape. Everything is in adjustment as far as the carburetor and the governor. So yeah, this thing is good to go, man. So I'm tickled to death. I'm glad that the only thing wrong with it was the brushes, and so it wasn't too awful expensive to fix. So yeah, I think the gentleman will be happy. Well, it started, it ran, it made power, it's in spec. That load bank, I put 4,000 watts of load on it, and as you saw, still making 60 hertz and 120 volts of AC power. So there you go. I mean, there's changing your brushes, cleaning your slip rings, and you know that's why, you know, it would not run. If you watch that other video, you know that an Onan generator won't run unless it's making AC power. This one wouldn't run. It would just start and die, start and die. So when I knew it wasn't making power, the gentleman brought it to me and we repaired it. So it's a done deal. I'm gonna call the man, tell him to come and get his generator, and he can reinstall it. I hope. I hope he reinstalls it. But you know, that's pretty easy. Didn't take long to get the parts. 2 or 3 days to get the parts. So I'm gonna unhook my battery, unhook my gas, put my load bank up, my meter, and I'm gonna go down the road and fix another one. And y'all have a fantastic day.